We're back. Okay, so let's see if we can make this work. I haven't been on Board Game Arena in a while. And let me put some music on. Let's listen to something chill, like Bonobo. Bonobo's pretty chill. How loud is the music? Too loud? Or is it okay? Lower? That's true, you can't sell the Crystal Vengeance. Okay, cool. Neat. Now, let's see. Wow, they put Roll for the Galaxy on BoardGameArena.com now. That's amazing. Yeah, Bonobo. Bonobo's sweet. I'm getting such a weird shadow here on the green screen. It's driving me crazy. Because I don't have like a real lighting kit. Okay, let's bring up... You know what? I can absolutely do this because I can just capture this whole display now. Fuck yeah, and I'll just bring the chat over here. Yes. 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 Okay. Alright, cool. How does this look? I think it looks fine. I'm rated 129th. I've played 1,430 games of Race for the Galaxy. That is a lot. Holy cow. I haven't played this in so long. There's going to be a timer. Alright, let's open it. I really only play a two-player also. So I'm going to be focusing on two-player. Playing it two-player. I think it's one of the best two-player games out there. Once you add a third player, the game takes a lot longer. The whole thing about two players is you each take 2 turns every round. God, is anyone playing? Let's go back. Like, I forget how to use this website. Oh my god. Isn't there just like a list of open games somewhere? There we go. We got a player anyway. Sweet. Okay, so you start with one of these random... Now, I'm on a timer, so I'm going to have to like try to think fast. So I'm just going to kind of talk while I play. We have Old Earth. Old Earth is really good at consuming. So what we want to try to find is a bunch of production worlds. So does Lost Colony, though, and we're kind of behind because he already has one that produces. We have to start by discarding 2. We're going to discard the really high-cost ones because we don't have a chance of playing them early. All right. We don't really have any good plays, so we need to draw. We don't even have... I mean, we can develop. We can develop for free, so we'll probably draw develop. And, okay, so colony ship would be nice, because then we can get our comet zone down, and that means when we produce, we actually continue to draw, and that can get our production engine going. That's probably a good play. Like, you don't want to look for too much synergy in your hand in the beginning, because it doesn't do anything. You have to spend a lot of stuff in your hand just to do stuff anyway. So we got our cheap development out. Now we're going to draw a card when we play colony ship. He's drawing when someone plays develop too. I have a feeling... I'm trying to gauge what my read of his play is going to be. He's probably going to develop again. I don't know if he's going to settle, though. He has 4 cards in hand. He's probably going to draw again or produce straight up since I don't have any production yet. So I'm going to develop settle, play the colony ship, get the combat zone down in 1 turn. He'll draw a card. I'll draw a card for the develop. And he might double develop. That would hurt us the most. If he draws, though, then we draw 2. We draw also. So he did draw. So we're playing a little bit faster than him. We get to keep something here. Diversified might be good if we can get one of these down. But I think this is just going to be better. Because we'll get to play it out and draw from it. We have to burn a card to play Colony Ship. We're going to burn Pilgrimage World because we have a lot of consumption already. It is worth points, but like, hopefully we don't ever play that. We're going to burn our Colony Ship to play Comet Zone. And now we've kept up with him. The problem is these planets are like completely useless. Consumer Market would be really good if we had blues. All right, he's primed to produce. So I think we have to hit something that we can also produce with. We're already behind. I'm going to explore 5 to try to hit something that I can settle this turn, and I'm going to settle. And if I don't hit something, then we wasted the whole turn. But if we do anything else, we're going to fall too far behind since we're both going for the same kind of strat. The nice thing is I have Consumer Market in hand, and that's what he's gunning for. So we might just hold on to this. If he plays Develop, we can play Expedition Force and draw off of it. Even though we have to burn a card, we can cycle. Yeah, because he played a Produce. And I want to get another thing down. Okay, so we're going to keep this. And settle it for 3. We draw for this, and we draw for this. That's pretty good. But as you can see, he already got this 3 down, but he doesn't have enough consume powers yet. So we're actually beating him here. So I can settle and consume double. And if he produces again, we're outdrawing him. He's exploring, so that's good. Explain it like you're a noob. Oh my god. Okay. After the game, I'll walk through it a little bit more. Holy shit. It's just I'm on a timer. You know what I'll do? If one of you guys is up for it, I'd like to invite you in, and like I can walk you through the game while we play, and I can change the timer. That would be a lot more fun, I think, because with a limited time, I have to act quickly. But yeah, it's pretty complicated, but once you know what's going on, it's not so complicated anymore. So I played Settle, he played Consume Sell. God, we're really killing him. So what I want to do right now is put one more world down that makes stuff. I'm going to make this one. And I want to be able to consume it right away. So this is actually going to come with a good on it. So I'm going to play this one and burn 3 cards. This is the cost in the top left. All right. So the top left has the cost. There's so much information on the cards. This is why it's such a hard game to teach people, because the cards represent what you have to pay to play the cards. They represent a bunch of stuff going on with the cards. There's the cost of the card. Let me finish this game out, and I'll do like some kind of basic tutorial. I think we get rid of Consumer Market. But I totally understand what you mean. So, but like I have to think too fast. I can't explain it all while I'm doing it right now. So give me 1 sec. I'm going to consume these for points. And then we've got him fucking beat, basically. Because right now we can consume for 6 points every turn. And he can only consume for 2, even though he makes a bunch of stuff. So we can run out the point pool before he can do much of anything. I'm even going to develop here, because I get to play this out for free and draw. And if he plays Settle to try to get some more consume powers down, I'll be able to play this anyway because I'm drawing a card off the Expedition Force, even though this costs 3. So when it says it costs 3, it costs cards in my hand to play. 3 cards out of my hand. But you get bonuses for picking different phases. So like when I play a Develop, it means I can play these diamond cards. Settle means you can play the planet cards, they're circles. Develop means you can play the diamond cards, which are developments. The bonus for picking Develop as a phase is you get to play the developments for 1 cheaper. So this comes down for free. And then this here lets me draw a card if I place a development, which it says here on the text, right? So I get to play this for free and draw a card if I pick Develop. If he picks Develop and I don't pick Develop, I can still develop. I can still play a diamond card, but I don't get this bonus. I don't get to play it at -1. So I would have to burn a card out of my hand to play this down. So I'm going to pick Develop. He picked Develop too. He actually draws on Develop also, but it's a different card. You can't have 2 of the same card down, so I'm not going to pick this one. I'll just pick this one. I'm going to play my Expedition Force for free because I get a -1 cost from the Develop phase. And then I actually drew a card back because I have Public Works, where every time I place a development, I draw a card. So I'm building up my board here. Now I picked Produce. So when you produce, all these colored-in circle worlds produce a good that matches the color. And all the empty circle worlds don't produce anything, but if you played Produce, your bonus is you get to place a good on one of those empty circle worlds, right? That's the bonus. So me playing Produce is important. If he plays Produce, then I don't get to put something here. But right now, I want to end the game as fast as possible because he still doesn't have the consume powers that he needs. He played Replicant Robots, which lets him settle for cheaper, which is great for me because he's going to play Settle a bunch, and I'm drawing cards every time I produce. But all I want to do is consume these for points and then produce more goods for points because in like 2 rounds, the game's going to be over. Maybe 3. Because I'm generating 6 points a turn and he's generating 2. So it's 8 every turn. 8, 16. So 3 rounds. In 3 rounds, the game's going to be over, no matter what he does. I'll keep Galactic Federation. That's a good card. He chose Develop. So now I'd like to play a Develop. These big 6-cost developments give you bonus points at the end. So I'd like to get this down right away. Although this will help me draw more. So I want to play this first because there's 2 more rounds. So this actually draws me a card by consuming here and gets me 2 points because I picked Consume Double. And then I'm going to get 4 more points for consuming on Old Earth. And then again, these goods are going to reset because I picked Produce. He actually got a really good card. This is a really good card for him. So this is actually going to be the last round. This is his Blue Mission card. So right now I'm up on points 24 to 12. I think I've got him beat, but this gives him lots of points for the Blue Worlds here. And he'll be able to consume all of these for points this turn and try to catch up. But I still think I'm ahead enough. So I'm going to play Develop here to get this down. I'm going to assume he's going to try to play Settle to get more points off this card. And I'm going to consume Double. And hopefully I get to play this and a planet. Yeah, so he played Develop and Settle. He didn't play Consume 2. I wonder why. It probably would have been more points for him to consume Double. So you can consume things for points, but consuming Double gives you double points, right? And since he didn't pick Consume Double, he can consume all these for points, but only 4 points. And he might not understand, even though there's only 8 points left in the pool, you dole all the points out, even if you run out. So now I get to settle. I'm going to settle my highest point value here, which is also great because this actually consumes for 3 points for 2 goods. So now I'm getting even more. I'm going to get 6 points for this and 2 points. So I'm going to get 8 points just for my consume this round, which is sick. And a card. And you want to draw as many cards as you can. Cards are the tiebreaker. How you doing, Skythan HTB? Good to see you tonight. So I think I got him. It's going to automatically tally up all the points, but we could count. Yeah, I got him by quite a bit. Yeah, so, okay. It's really hard to teach this game like that. So, let me create a game. Does anyone have an account on BoardGameArena.com? Because I'd like to teach this game, but I have to go a lot slower. Lushai, do you want to like come on and I'll show you what's going on? I'll set like an unlimited timer. Yeah, turn-based, no time limit. The game is short. That's fine. You don't have an account? It is free. It's free to sign up for this, and you can do it right through Facebook if you're interested. Sweet. Because it really, like, there's a lot going on, but playing it is very simple. There's just a lot going on. It's a very steep learning curve, but once you're past it, it's very easy to play. I'm gonna figure out how to invite a friend. Yeah, here we go. Once you're registered, I'll be able to invite you in. Is it the same name? It's this player's first game. Do you know the rules? No. Alright, I sent you an invite. Or you can find my table number. God, I love this game. I'm so glad you guys want to learn. Sweet. Is it not working? I accept. I might have had to open the table. Okay, I mean, Skyven, I'd like to teach this game two-player. I think it's best as a two-player game. Sweet. Okay. So, there's no timer anymore. So we can really talk about what's going on. Alright, Lushai, here's how you play Race for the Galaxy. There are... when you start the game, everyone's dealt one of 5 random start worlds. Okay? Each one of the random start worlds is different and synergizes differently with the deck. But just because you have that start world doesn't mean you necessarily need to play towards that route, but it does help. So I'm going to explain the phases, and then I'm going to explain the cards. Alright? The way that... Oh, I'm going to explain the turn structure. So the way the turn structure works is you have to pick what you want to do on your turn. And then we do it. But the things that you pick to do, I also get to do. All right? Kind of like a choose your role game, like Puerto Rico. I don't know if you ever played Puerto Rico, but basically you're going to choose phases, which is kind of like roles for that turn, like building or drawing cards or scoring points. But then whatever you pick, every player gets to do as well. But because you picked it, you're going to get a bonus. Okay? And because it's two-player, you get to pick 2 actions. So the different actions available are up here. So explore means draw cards, right? Develop means play development cards, which are diamond cards. Okay? Settle means play a planet, which are any circular cards with the circle in the top left. Consume means using the good... Consume is kind of complicated, but it means If you have goods on the table, you can consume your goods for either cards or points. And I'll get into that in a minute. And then produce kind of goes with consume. Produce means you produce goods on your cards, right? So how do you get... Let's go over the cards. So there's worlds, right? And there's developments, okay? The developments have the diamond. The worlds have the circles, okay? The big number on the main shape, so the number here, this is a 2 in the diamond, represents how much it costs to play that card. The smaller number in the hex is the point value of the card. So you'll notice the point tokens are hexes. So the hexes on the cards are also points. Okay? So colony ship here is a development because it's a diamond. It costs 2 cards to play because it's got a big number 2. And it's worth 1 point. So once you play it to your tableau, to the table, you get a point for it. All right? Right now, you can see, let's go over like what we've started with. We both start with a world, right? Circle in the top left. The extra worlds do get shuffled back into the deck, so they function like normal cards. But you can see here they've got 1 through 5 are printed on the bottom of these start cards. So you know to pull them out of the deck if you're playing like with a physical game. So my start world is blue. It's worth 1 point. And it has an ability here where I can consume a good for 1 point, and it can be a good of any color, blue, green, yellow, or brown. And because it's a blue world, when someone picks the produce phase, it will create a blue good. And when I have it moused over here, it actually explains it in the text. It says 4, so phase 4. On the side, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? And that lines up with the phases at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All the phases always resolve in order. So if anyone picked consume, then I could consume a good for a point. I could use that ability that's on phase 4 on this card. And if anyone played produce, which is phase 5, this card would create a blue good. Okay? Your card is different. Your card is gray. Gray worlds don't produce any goods, but it has different abilities. So on phase 3, settle, you have this little red circle with a +1. The red pluses here are military strength, okay? Which I'll get to in 1 second. But you also have a consume ability here as well. So if you had a good on your table and someone picked consume, you would be able to consume that good using this ability for a point and a card. So it's a better consume ability than mine. Because you draw a card, you score points and get a card. But you can't produce any goods. You have to find a world that produces goods before you can start getting goods onto your table. Okay, there's more. It gets even more complicated before it gets easier. So there's 4 different colors of world, and there's 3 different types. There's military worlds, which are red. So you see that most of these cards have a black circle with a black number. That means if I want to play this card down, I have to play the card to the table and spend 2 cards out of my hand to play it. Okay? But the red numbers, the planets with red numbers, you can't play them to the table by playing cards on your hand. You have to have a greater military strength than the number in the circle to play the card. But then you get to play the card for free. You have to play any cards to play the military card to the table as long as you have greater military strength equal to or greater than what's on the card. So as Epsilon Eridani, you start with +1 military strength. Now, you wouldn't be able to play any of these cards that you can see on my screen because this takes 2 military strength, this takes 6. But if you could find another card that would boost your military strength to 2 or greater, then you'd be able to settle these cards. But until that happens, you can't settle these cards at all. Can't play them at all. All right? Now, this card here is not only military, but it's green. But instead of being a filled-in green circle, it's got this green halo around the outside, right? That means it's a different kind of world. It's a windfall world. So while production worlds produce goods when someone plays produce, windfall worlds come with a good preloaded on it. All right? That means if I settled this card, played Aquatic Uplift Race to the table, you would get a green good placed on it right away. But then when you produce later, it does not produce any further goods. It's like you ransack the planet for its supplies, and you get to use it one time. Okay? So that's the three main types of planets. There's production worlds, windfall worlds, and military worlds. And they show up in all different combinations, right? Like this rebel base doesn't produce anything, doesn't have any goods, but it's worth 6 points. That's a lot of points. That's a lot of points. It's one of the highest point value cards in the game. But to be able to play it, you need to be able to beat 6 military strength by adding what's on your board together. So it's a late game card, right? So the basic strategy of the game is to find a way to maintain card draw while building your board. Because playing Explorer, which is the draw the card thing, is not something you want to do. Whenever you pick draw cards, your opponent also gets to draw cards. And it's also it's also burning an action where you can't be producing points for your board, right? So what you want to do is build some kind of table where you get to continually draw cards while producing points, either by playing cards to the table or by consuming goods for points. There's 2 different ways to end the game. The game ends when someone reaches 12 cards played to the table, or the point pool runs out. And in a 2-player game, it's 24 points. So it's a literal race. We could both be racing down different setups. Like, you could be trying to finish out a 12-card board before I empty out the point pool, and we'd end up with a similar score. But if you manage to, like, get all 12 cards down while I was trying to, like, produce and consume, and I couldn't produce or consume enough, then you would probably win. Because just from the points on the cards, you would build up enough of a board that you would beat my production here. All right, so anyway, I can't get into general strategy. I have to just talk about the mechanics of the game. So the game starts... they deal you 6 cards, and you have to pick 4 and discard 2. So I can't see your hand, but please ask me any questions you want about your hand. Generally, in the beginning of the game, you don't want to keep really high-cost cards because you won't be able to play them. You need to find other cards that give you discounts and things. All these 6-cost developments, you'll notice there's a question mark in the point value area. All the 6-cost developments in the deck are unique. There's only one of each of them, and they're basically like missions, right? They give you points based on the rest of the cards in your tableau, which is why there's a question mark. You kind of calculate it at the end of the game. So what this card here that you can see, Pan-Galactic League, what this does is it gives me -1 military strength. So I'd be at -1 military. And then if I have green cards out, whenever I produce on a green planet, a Gene's World, a green planet, I get to draw cards. And then at the end of the game, I would get 2 points for every green planet on my board, 1 point for every military planet on my board, and 3 points for the special card Contact Specialist. So that would be my mission. If I kept this card, I'd be trying to kind of complete the goals on this card to boost the point value of this card for the end of the game. But it's too early for this, so I'm not going to keep this. I'm going to keep the cheap stuff. I'm not going to keep the Rebel base either. It's too much money. That's really all I was thinking about. You want to be able to create early game plays. So now you should pick some cards to keep and cards to get rid of. And I guarantee you're not going to understand everything on the cards. But try to keep your lower cost cards and try to keep a mix of planets and developments. I'm trying to think if there's a way for me to actually look at your hand. You discarded your 6-cost cards. That's a good idea. All right. So now that we have our opening hand, you have to pick what you want to do. So some of these are a little confusing because I said that there's draw cards, play a development, play a settlement, consume, or produce, right? But you get to pick 2. And some of these have more than one option. So there's 2 different ways you can draw cards. If I pick draw cards, everybody gets to draw 2 cards and keep a card. That's the base draw. But because I'm picking Explorer, I would get a bonus. I can either draw an extra card and keep an extra card, so draw 3 cards, keep 2 cards, Or I can draw 5 extra cards, but don't keep any extra. So I would draw 7 cards and only keep 1. So this is what you pick if you're looking for a specific card out of the deck. And you're not going to be able to know what you're looking for until you've played it a few times. But so like, all the worlds are unique. Every world card is unique. There's 2 of every development card, except for the 6-drop development cards are all unique. So it's a really big deck too. It's like 124 cards. So you're not going to really know what you're looking for until you've played a few times. But you can get a general idea. Like, something you might be looking for is something that adds military strength. And there are several cards that do that. There's planets that do that, and there's developments that do that. So maybe you have a card in your hand that costs 3 military strength to play. You might want to take the draw a bunch of extra cards to try to hit one specific card that will boost your military strength up enough to let you play that one card. That might be something you want to do. I'm going to walk you through since you can see my hand, I'm going to walk you through my thinking, right? We'll get to consume and produce later. Actually, we'll get to it now. So, Earth's Lost Colony is a production world, so I can produce right off the bat, and you can't. And one thing if you're going to be good at this game, you want to be able to press your advantage. So right now, if I produce, I get a bonus because I actually produce a good, and you wouldn't produce anything. World equals cost 2 and plus 1. You've got that one. That's a really good play then. That's probably a good play. So I'm going to walk you through my thought process, and then we'll play out a turn. Okay? So what I would be doing is trying to press my advantage. You can't produce anything. I want to use what I have to produce blue goods and then consume them for points and cards. So now let's talk about consume. So this is pretty straightforward. You play a development, you play a settlement. We went through draw cards. You either draw 2, keep 1. If I play Explorer and you don't, you will draw 2 cards and keep 1. And I get to pick one of these bonuses. I can pick both of these and get both bonuses. But then only one draw phase occurs. Oh man, it sounds so wacky. But anyway, there's also 2 different consume abilities. You can consume sell, where you get to sell a good for cards in your hand, which is one of the ways to refill your hand of cards. Or I can get double points, right? So there's 4 colors of good. There's brown, there's blue, brown, green, and yellow, and they sell for different values. Blue goods sell for 2, green goods sell for 3, brown goods sell for 3, green goods sell for 4, and yellow goods sell for 5. And they're all themed, right? Like, green cards are Gene worlds, uplift worlds. Blue cards are novelty worlds. Brown are mining, and yellow are alien. All right? But so, if you're playing a military game, a lot of the military planets are these windfall planets that come with a good. So a good turn would be to play one of these planets out that has a good and then sell on the same turn. So you refill your hand with cards. You get to play a card and draw a bunch of cards on the same turn. So this is one way to draw cards, is to sell your goods. Another way to draw cards is with cards that have abilities that let you draw cards. So like this gem world, whenever I produce on this world, I draw a card, which is very good. One of the things collecting a lot of the blue planets lets you do is they all have a lot of like this card generation abilities built in, and they're really cheap to play. So you can build a board of like lots of small blue planets and keep collecting cards without having to actually play draw cards. So what I want to do on my first turn is play this down and then produce. Because that way I'll be able to produce a good on this card, because it's blue. And I'll be able to produce a good on this card, because it's blue, filled in. And you won't produce anything. And I don't need to draw. I have enough cards in my hand to make this play right now. I can settle, play either, probably these 2 cards, which aren't doing anything for me right now. Play this to the table, and then produce and make goods on both of these. And the next turn, I'll be able to sell one of these blue goods for cards, and then cash the other one in for a point. So that's what my play is going to be. Let me walk you through what these other cards do. So Colony Ship is a special card. It's a development card, and what it does is it negates the cost of playing a world. Not a military world, though. Yeah, right. It says it cannot be used to place an alien world or at all. No alien worlds and no military worlds. Non-military world. So you trade this card in, and you get to play a planet for free later on. But I'm not going to do that. Deficit spending is when you have too many cards in your hand. You can cash your extra cards in for victory points. Which, again, this is like a late game card. So neither of these cards are really too helpful for me. This is just a plain green planet, a windfall planet. So like this would come with a green good. But I can't play this. I don't have the military strength. So I'm going to pick Settle so I can play this. And I'm going to pick Produce so I can create my goods. The bonus for picking Settle is that when I play my planet to the table, I'm going to draw a card. That's the bonus for picking Settle. You draw a card when you play a planet. Now, I pick these two. You can see that I pick these two, right? That means you're going to have the opportunity to play a planet, but without the bonus, unless you pick the Settle as an action. You'll still be able to play a planet, but you won't receive the bonus. All right, you pick Settle, Produce. Okay. So I'm going to play my planet out. I have to pay 2 cards, which is the cost in the circle. I'm going to play this one, which I can't play anyway, and this one, which is a late game card. And I'm going to keep Colony Ship because it might let me settle a more expensive world later on. Now you have to settle something, or pass if you cannot. And then it'll all right, so now you've caught up. So you played New Vinland. Sweet. And then it produced automatically because the game kind of takes care of that stuff. So that's great. You got to play a card down that's blue and filled in. So you anticipated, I told you, but this would be a really good play. You anticipated that I would produce on my turn since you couldn't produce, and you took advantage of that. Now, you didn't actually have to pick Produce. Because I picked Produce, this would produce anyway. The bonus for picking Produce is that your windfall worlds create goods, which is neat. So to be efficient, if you think I'm going to produce, you should use your other action to do something more that benefits you more directly. Because you didn't get anything special for picking Produce. What you did do is deny me from getting to do something else. Because whatever other phase you pick is going to give me a chance to do that as well. If that makes sense. So turn 2. Looking at my board now. I have these blue goods. Right? So I definitely want to use these blue goods. So one of my phases is going to be sell. Because I want to get a big hand. I'll be able to sell one of my blue goods for 2. And I'll be able to cash the other one in for a point. Alright? Looking at my hand, I have this military planet that I can't do anything with, so that sucks. I have Colony Ship, which might be good, but I don't have anything to use it on yet. And then I have Replicant Robots, which allows me to settle all planets, all these black cost planets, for 2 less cards, which is a really good card. But I can't afford it, because it costs 4 cards to play. So this turn is really all about me putting more cards into my hand. And now, what I would do if you hadn't played New Vinland is probably just sell my goods and produce again. But now you've matched me. You've matched me here, right? So you don't even need to play Consume Sell to generate cards. Because you have these abilities on your cards that allow you to generate cards when someone plays Consume. And I'm playing Consume, so you're going to be able to do this even if you don't pick Consume. The bonus for picking Consume, once again, is you either get to sell a good, which you can only do if you pick this action, selling a good, and the blue sells for 2, or you get double your points, right? But you already have a Consume power here that consumes this good for 2. So selling it wouldn't be any better. And you don't even need to play Consume because I'm going to play Consume. So when the Consume phase happens, you'll be able to trade this in for either 2 cards or a point and 1 card. All right? You can't settle on it. Right. So it might be a good time to double explore. where you would draw 8 cards and keep 2. It might be a good time to play Explore once, Explore with the bonus, so you draw 2 cards in your hand, and then play a Development. But you have to be able to count what you'll be able to play. Like, if I played Explore, Develop here, I would draw 2 cards into my hand. I would draw 3 cards and keep 2, right? If I pick this. And then I would have 5 cards in my hand. And then I would be able to develop this down. Because I would have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I could play this. And even if I pick Develop, I could play it for 1 cheaper, so it only cost me 3. But at this stage, if I pick Develop, I won't be able to play this. So I have options. I can either draw myself, right? So I'll be able to make a play if you choose something. Or I can just sell my cards and produce again, which is what I'm going to do. Because I'm generating cards on when I produce here as well, right? Or I could, like, I could predict that you're going to draw a card. Like, this is where the strategy comes into play, right? Like, you have to kind of predict what the other player is going to do. Like, I can see your hand size. You have 2 cards in hand, so you're probably going to draw a card. And if you draw a card, that means I get to draw cards too. And all I need is 1 card drawn into my hand to be able to play this if I play Develop. And that might really help me out, because then I can settle everything else faster. So if I was playing a real game, that's probably what I'd actually do, after like looking at the hand and everything. Because I don't want to produce and give you another good anyway. I want to force you to have to play produce at this point. Because producing now keeps us pretty much even. I get 2 cards plus 1, but you get 2 cards, and I'm generating cards for you. So I'm going to pick Develop, Consume, and I'm going to hope you don't have to do it. You haven't told me what you're doing. I mean, you did tell me what you're doing, but I'm going to hope you're going to play Explorer, because if I draw 1 card, I'll be able to play Replicant Robots down, and then I'll refill my hand when I sell my card. Alright, so you played Explore. So you can see on my screen, I only got 2 cards. On your screen, you got to see 3 cards, and you get to pick 2 of them. I only get to keep 1, so I'll keep 1. And now, since I picked Develop, we both have a chance to develop. The bonus for me picking Develop is I get to play a development card at a discount of -1. You can still play a development, but you don't get the discount because you didn't pick the phase. But you still have the chance to do it. So I'm going to play my Replicant Robots out for the last 3 cards in my hand. And now you don't have to develop. You might want to hold your cards for something else. You might not even be able to develop and settle. Right? Like, you pick Settle. I can't play a card for Settle. My hand is empty. So if you want to just hit Pass and move on to the Settle phase, that's fine. So now I can't settle at all. I choose not to. And now you get to settle, and you get the Settle bonus where you draw a card back after you play a world down. Which is pretty sweet. That was actually a really good phase for both of us. I was efficient by predicting what you would do, but you got to play a planet out with my hand size low, so I didn't get to take advantage of you playing Settle at all. I just did what I was doing, and you did what you were doing. So we stayed pretty even. So now the Consume phase happens. So during the Consume phase, I picked Sell, so I have to sell a card. Now, I didn't say this yet, but when a Consume phase occurs, you are forced to use all your Consume abilities until you can't use anymore. So you cannot strategically hold back a good for a later turn. Because you have 2 goods now, you're going to have to use both your abilities. But that's not a bad thing. That means you're going to draw 3 cards and score a point. So to do this, click on one of the goods to select it, and then click on the card which has the ability that you want to use. So each one of these cards has an ability, so it doesn't matter which one is which. Some cards have like color-coded ones, but you can just like click on your brown one and then put it here, and click on your blue one and then put it here, and that will end the Consume phase. And then you're going to have a bunch of cards in your hand, and then we're going to play the next round. And you can see where the points are at. So I have 1 point for this card, 1 point for this card, 2 points for this card, and I got a point just now, a point token. So you have 1 point for this card, 1 point for this card, and you got 1 point token for cashing in here. So right now it's 5 points to 3. And the game ends when either one of us has 12 cards or all the point tokens are gone. So there's still lots of game left. It's still the first third of the game. So now I have choices. I don't really have a big hand. I'm looking for cheap planets to play. I have the option to play Produce, which will, if I play Produce, I will get a good here and here, and you will get a good here, but not here, because it's a windfall world. If you play Produce, you will be able to put a good here and here, because the bonus for playing Produce is you get to make one of your windfall worlds produce. So this windfall world will create a good if you pick Produce. I don't really want any of that. I want you to be playing Produce. It's better for you to play Produce anyway, and I'm going to produce on all my things anyway. But I don't have anything to do here. So I'm just going to double explore, which isn't great for me, but because my planets are discounted, I might be able to play something if you picked Settle. But you didn't pick Settle. You picked Explore and Develop. So that might be really bad for me. I might not be able to make a play. Hopefully I'll be able to play my export duties. So what I'm looking for is more production cards, but I also need more consumption abilities. All right, so now that you know a little bit how it works, there is a break point for trying to run the point pool out, and it's being able to score 6 points every turn, right? Because the point pool starts at 24 points, and if you can generate 6 points a turn, the game ends in 4 rounds. So you put a clock on the other player. We've already scored a couple of the points, right? So when you're trying to go for a point production play, you want to try to build a board that can generate 6 points per turn. And there's a few ways you can do that, right? Yeah. But so this is something to keep in mind. If you want to play a game where you're trying to score points on your board instead of playing a bunch of cards really fast, 6 points per turn is the key amount, which means you need 3 cards that consume for a point each. Because when you play double points, you generate 2 points for each, and then you're getting 6 points a turn, and that ends the game very quickly. It puts a lot of pressure on the other player. So anyway, I got all these cards to look at, but I can only pick 2. I get this big discount from Replicant Robots, so I'm going to pick... What I want to do is pick these 2 cards, which also produce goods, but I don't have anything else that consumes goods. This is a really nice card, though. It draws 2 cards every time I play Produce. So I'm going to keep this one. And then this card allows me to generate 3 points if I can consume 1 good of 3 different colors. This card consumes 3 goods of a different color each. And if you can't do it, then you can't use the card at all. But if you can do it, then it gives you 3 points. And then if I can do that and play consume times 2, then I've hit my 6 point per turn goal. So this might be a card I want to keep, but I think it's too expensive. Other plays I could make here. You pick Develop, so I could pick Contact Specialist, which is a special card that lets me settle military worlds for free. Well, not for free. They let me settle military worlds as if I was paying for them at a discount of -1. It's a really weird card. It's a very special, weird card. So I could pick this and then this, develop this, and then I'd be able to settle this for free later on. But that's not really my game plan. My game plan is to produce cards and consume them for points. So I think I'm going to go Hail Mary. I'm going to pick the Lost Species Ark world. And I'm going to pick, you know what? That doesn't even make sense. I won't be able to play these. I only get to keep 2. My discount is -2, so this is still going to cost 3 to play. And if I develop on this turn, I'm going to burn 2 cards here. So Diversify is probably out of my reach. But I would have a blue, green, and brown. I'm just going to take the 2 production worlds. Alright, so now you play Develop. So I have a chance to play this development here, but I don't get the bonus, so I have to burn a card out of my hand. And that'll make it really hard for me to play one of these next turn. So I think I'm going to not do that right now. Even though that's a slow play. So now you get to play one of your diamond cards, one of your developments, at a discount of -1. That's the bonus. The settle bonus is you draw a card back. Oh, so you're going diversified economy. Nice. You had the other one. That's great. There's only 2 in the deck. So if you can get a green or a yellow card down, you could start generating the 6 points per turn. You'd kick my ass because you're way ahead of me now. You also, I don't know if you noticed the bottom, there's actually another part to this card. Whenever you produce goods, you get to draw a card for every different type you produce. So it's a card generating engine as well. So if you played produce this turn, you made a blue and a brown good, you would draw 2 cards back. Very good. Very good card. Now I need to settle this turn. And I need to produce, but I'm hoping you'll produce, because then I get to draw a card for this, and I draw 2 cards for this. I need more cards on my hand to make more plays. I want to be able to use both of these cards, and I want to be able to find more consumption abilities. So I'm going to draw. I'm going to draw to get more cards in hand, so I'm going to take this bonus, the extra keep bonus, and then I'm going to play settle so I can get my Lost Species Ark World down. Nice. So you played settle produce. That's really good. If you get to play one of the other colors, you're going to be kicking my ass. I'm going to take a cheap card, and I'm going to take a card that gets me a sell bonus, I guess. Sure. This gets me a bonus when I'm selling goods, but I think you've already got me in a vice here. If I'm trying to do consumption strats, and you're like way ahead of me with diversified, I'm never going to be able to catch up. I'm going to keep the cheapest cards. I have to pay 3. This card combos well with this card. But I have to trash 3, so I'm going to trash these 3. Export duties I might still get value off of. There's actually a log here on the right-hand side that shows you what's happening. So, like, why I have so many cards in my hand. Lost Species Ark World drew me 2 cards. Gem World drew me a card. We both drew a card for settling. We both got the settle bonus. And this was like the Explorer, right? So it's showing you what's going on. Sweet. So I'm sorry. So since you pick produce, your bonus is you get to pick a Windfall World to produce a good on. So you get to select this card, click on this one, and it'll put a brown good here. And then you'll draw another card for that. Oh, no, you won't. Yeah, I mean, you'll draw a card for this, but you won't draw a card for this because this came with a good this turn. But you have to click on this to progress the game. It should say up here, like, select a Windfall World to produce a good. Now, you have kind of an issue here, though. Because you have 2 Windfall Worlds. So, you can consume for double points this turn and get 6 points. But if you play produce again, this will produce, and then you'll have to pick one of your Windfall Worlds to produce a good. You won't produce on both. You need another filled-in circle. Oh, you're behind like 30 seconds? That's fine. So you need a card like what's in my hand. You see here, Genetics Lab, its ability is it produces on a Gene's Windfall World. Whenever anyone plays produce. Or Mining Robots, which produces on a brown Windfall World when anyone plays produce. Okay, sweet. I'm going to repeat what I said then. You have a problem here where you have too many Windfall Worlds. If you play produce, you'll produce on your production world, and then you'll have to pick one of these Windfall Worlds. And you need to produce on all 3 of these to be able to use this diversified economy every turn. Because what you want to get into is a cycle where you play produce, consume every turn until the game ends. But you can't do that because you have to pick one of these to produce a good. The bonus is you only get 1 Windfall World. Right. So what you would need is one of these cards in my hand. Genetics Lab here, its produce bonus is it lets you produce on a Gene's Windfall World. And Mining Robots lets you produce on a brown Windfall World. So if you had either one of these, it would be really good for you. Either one of these cards would be perfect for you right now. So it's not just another color world that you would need. It's any card like this that lets you produce on a Windfall World would also be really good. So check all your cards and make sure you don't have anything like that. Because if you do, that's perfect. There's a lot of cards that let you produce on Windfall Worlds. And if you have one of those, you get that down, you're running the game out right away. So I'm really happy that you don't have that, because it lets me stay in the game here. So what I want to do now, since I see that you're kind of stuck, is I know I have a little bit more time, so I'm going to do a massive draw turn. I'm going to play Genetics Lab, which gets me an extra card when I sell a green good, since I have this green good now. So I'm going to develop, play Genetics Lab, and then sell. And I'm going to be able to use this, and I'm going to be able to cash in a point, and I'm going to draw 5 cards for selling this with the bonus here. And because I can see that you're stuck. I can see on your board state that you don't have what you need to run me out yet. So this is my best chance to find something to do. I have to take a big draw. The thing about drawing with Explorer is we both get to draw. The thing about drawing by selling goods is only I get to draw. You don't get to sell a card unless you pick consume yourself. Now you get to sell a card. The other thing I didn't mention about this is me playing consume forces you to clear your board of goods, because you have to use the consume abilities on the table until you're out of goods. You can't hold them back until a good time. Now, since you picked sell, well, let's do develop first. So I'm going to play my Genetics Lab out, like I said. It cost me 1. I'm going to use this military card that I can't use. And you get to play your development. Space Marines, nice. So you have an interesting board going on here where you have +1 military strength for this, -1 for this, but +2 for this. And then Alpha Centauri, I didn't even go over this card. This lets you play brown cards at a discount, -1. So all these filled in brown cards with black costs or windfall cards cost you 1 less. But the military, it gives you +1 military only for brown cards. So it's a bonus to playing brown cards either way. This is actually one of the start worlds that you can get. So this is a really nice card. Yeah. But this military strength only applies to brown cards. These on these cards apply to everything. So you could settle a brown military world that's 3 or less. All the other ones are 2 or less. A brown 5 with 4 other cards. Damn. Yeah, that would have been perfect. That would have been perfect. So now that when you sell a good, well, I'm going to sell a good. You should probably sell your highest value. Blue are worth 2, brown are worth 3, green are worth 4, and yellow are worth 5. Unless you have bonuses, right? So like, I have a bonus here where my greens sell for 1 extra. So when I sell this, I should draw 5. So I drew 5. So you sold your brown, so you drew 3. But if you sold your green, you would have drawn 4. Now, since you sold one of your cards, you cannot cash in on Diversified Economy anymore, because you need 1 of every color. But you can still use these 2 consume abilities. And here, it doesn't matter which color they are. This will consume and give you 2 cards. This will give you a point in a card, just like last time. Doesn't matter the color. It's all colors. And the thing that I keep stressing, though, is you have to use these. You can't use this, so it won't let you. But because you have goods and you have abilities here and consume happen, you will have to cash your goods in at this point. Now, on my table, I only have 1 other consume option. Now I don't have any more. So this good is going to remain on the table, because you can only use each consume ability once per phase. Which is really important, right? So now I have a card left to sell next round if I want, but you don't. So I could pick consume again next turn. You won't be able to do anything because produce happens after consume. So unless you play a windfall world down, I would be able to cash in on a sell and you wouldn't be able to cash in on it at all. So that's something that I am going to be aware of. I have a card left on my board that I can use and you won't have any. you'll have to burn this green good into one of these. So now it's the middle game, right? Now we have you have 6 cards down, so you're halfway through your board, right? I have the beginnings of an engine here, and I just drew up to 10 cards. Oh, I didn't even tell you. I drew up to 9 cards. You have a hand limit of 10. So if you draw over 10 cards, at the end of your turn, you have to discard down to 10. Keeps it tight. So I have a 9-card hand now. So now I have to really make a decision on what I want to go for. I see here I have some really cheap blue planets, which is good. And I have consumer markets, which goes well with blue planets. Okay? What consumer markets does is kind of like diversified economy. For every blue good I produce, I will draw a card. And then I can consume 3 blue goods onto this card, which effectively means I'll be consuming 6 points per turn. If I can play a green world down and this card, I'll actually be consuming 3 blue goods onto this card for 6 points and the green good onto this card for 2 more. So I'll get 8 per turn. So this is definitely the play I want to make. There's a bunch of brown cards here that would be really good for your board. But I don't really need them anymore because I have this blue play. And then I have a mission here, a 6-cost development. Galactic Renaissance. So what this does is for every 3 victory point tokens that I have at the end of the game, these chips, I get an extra victory point from this card. And then I get 3 bonus points if I can play one of the named cards on this card. Research Labs, Galactic Trendsetters, or Artist Colony, which I don't have them. But since I've decided I'm going to make this play where I'm generating point tokens, this is a good mission for me to keep. Because I will be generating extra points. It also has passive abilities on it where I draw extra cards and I keep extra cards when someone plays Explore. I draw 2 extra and keep an extra. So now my base draw would be draw 4, keep 2. And with the bonus it would be draw 5, keep 3. If I can play this down. But it's very expensive, so I'm not going to try to play it yet. What I want to do this turn is get this planet down and get this card down. Now I want to think about what you're going to do, because I don't want to play Develop Settle. I want to sell my card. So I'm going to try to guess if you're going to play Develop or Settle here. And what I think you want to do is settle a planet, because you have these planets here. You've almost got diversified economy working, but you don't have it yet. Last round, you played this little thing that gives you extra military strength. So I imagine that this turn, you're going to use that to play down a planet that you need. So I'm going to pick the opposite thing because I already get a huge discount on Settle. I'm going to pick Develop. So I get to kind of ride on your phase. If you pick Settle, you don't have to pick Settle. I'm just imagining that that's what you're going to do. Because I want to develop consumer markets this turn for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then play this for free with my discount from Replicant Robots. Perfect. So that's exactly what I wanted. So develop happens first. They always happen in order. Draw, develop, settle, consume, produce. So I'm going to play my consumer markets down for 4. I'll keep this cheap one. I'll get rid of these brown cards I'm not using. And now you have a chance to develop, but again, you might not want to be developing right now. You might not even have the cards in your hand to do so. Although you have a big hand, you have 9 cards, so you might be able to play a development. If you play a development, you should play one that's going to help whatever you're trying to do here. New Military Tactics is really good. So this is kind of like Colony Ship. This is a one-time use card that gives you a boost of +3 for your military for 1 settle phase. So right now, it's the settle phase. So you could cash this in right now. If you have a military card that is worth 1 -1, so 2, 5 or less, you can cash this in and play that down without having to spend any other cards out of your hand. That's what this does. And I'm going to play my Secluded World. I don't get the bonus because I didn't pick Settle, so I don't draw a card. But I have this discount from Replicant Robots, so I didn't have to spend any cards to play it. Nice. So you got to play New Earth. And this New Military Tactics is on hold for later. So now we're basically in a race. I'm going to sell this for my points. Or my cards, rather. And then you played Produce. Wow. Okay. So I got all my filled in worlds producing, and you've got your filled in worlds produced, and now you get to pick. And since you want to be using diversified economy, you should pick the green card, so you have one of every color: blue, green, and brown. You don't need another brown good. It would mean you wouldn't be able to use diversified economy here. Right. And now you should draw. I drew 3 cards for my consumer markets for producing the blue goods, and I drew 2 cards from the Lost Species Ark World, and I drew a card from Gem World, right? So I have too many cards I got to discard. And you drew 3 cards from Diversified Economy for producing 1 good of each color, which is very good. So I have to pick a card to trash. All right, good night, Squire. I'm going to trash like one of these military worlds. It's not doing me anything. I can't play them. So now we're at the end game already, because I'm going to be consuming for double points because I'm generating 8 per turn, and I can see on your board that you're generating 6, and I already have a point lead. So my play every turn now, if I stream more of this game, maybe you'll get it eventually. Sure, man. You should get involved in a game with me at some point, and I can walk you through it. And yeah, it's totally free. This website is totally free. There's a ton of games on it, and it's a really good way to learn. This was much harder to learn with the box set. The rule book is intense. It's really intense. So my whole plan now, since I can see that I'm generating more points than you on a produce, is I'm going to consume for double points, cash all these blue ones in, 2, 4, 6 points on this card. I'm going to cash this green one here for 2 points for 8, and I'm getting 8 points per turn, and you're only getting 6. And if you even want to get 6, you have to play produce. So it takes away from your ability to do other things to catch up. But I also want to be able to play some of these. Like I found Artist Colony, and that hits one of the missions on this card, right? So not only do I want to run the game out, but if you play any, like I'm drawing cards and generating points without having to do anything but cash in my points and play produce. Because when I produce, I'm drawing 2, 3, 6 cards. So I don't have to fuck around with any of this anymore. I can just play double points, play produce, cash in, and run the game out. And if you try to catch up, my strategy is I'm going to play Artist Colony, which gets me more blue cards and gets me bonus points on this. And if you play so if you play Settle, I'll play Artist Colony. If you play Develop, I'll play Galactic Renaissance. But if the board state remains this way, since I'm already up 2 points and I'm generating more points than you, I don't need to do anything else. It's on you to try to catch up to me. And I have good plays. When you pick a different phase, I'll still have plays to make because I have a full hand. This is like exactly the situation where you want to be. You're ahead on the point generation, and it's up to your opponent to try to catch up. So that's all. Like, my path is clear. I'm just going to produce for double points, not sell good, double points. And then I'm going to produce, which will generate me more cards. So you play Develop. So what I want to do now is get my big mission down, this one. This is good for the brown cards. I don't have the brown cards, though. This gives you points for any brown worlds you have on the table, and lets you consume 2 brown goods for 3 points, which is really big. And it lets you produce on a brown windfall world. So this goes well with Alpha Centauri. It goes well with all the brown cards. But I'm not using it, so I'm going to trash it. I'm going to trash... I'm going to keep Research Labs because it's another one of my mission cards, but I have 2 copies. You can only have one of each card on the table. So this is both copies of the card. I can trash one because I'll never be able to play both. I'm going to trash this brown card, this military card, this card, and Pilgrimage World for the other ones because I'm not using any of them. Military Worlds I'm not using, blah, 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 blah. So now I got my mission down. Rad. And this is worth right now... I'm going to have 10 points at the end of this turn, so 3 points from victory points plus 3 points if I get to play Artist Colony. So 6, but only if I play Artist Colony. Military equals point. Okay, so the points that you generate from cashing your goods in take tokens out of the pool, which are up here. This is the chip pool. When you play the game, there's actually like chips. And they're scored here on your board, on your little score table, right? But The cards themselves are worth points too. So if you look at the stars right now, it says 14. It's adding up all the points that are obvious on the table. So it's the total of your point tokens and the value of your cards. So the number in the little hexes, the same shape as the point tokens, are the value of the cards. So you have 1 point, 2 points. This is worth no points. 4 points, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, plus the 2 victory point chips. So that's where you get 14 from. All right, so there's several ways to get points. There's the cards and there's the goods, the tokens. All right, so you play dropships. So now you have a huge military ability. So now I played consume double and you played consume sell. That's very interesting. So now you get to sell your card. You should sell your green card for maximum draw. And I'm going to cash in for double points. So you get to sell this for 4 cards, then consume this here for a point and a card, and consume this here for a point and a card. Or you can consume one here and draw 2 cards but not get the point. That's a decision you'll have to make. I have to put all my blue cards into consumer markets for 6 points, 2 points per blue. And then I'm going to put this one, I can pick here or here. Draw a card or get points. I'm going to take points. And then I draw all these fucking cards because of my ridiculous bonuses on the cards here, where I draw when I produce. So I have a full hand again. You actually overdrew. You are at 11 in your hand, so you have to pick one to discard before we go to the next phase. And you can see there's other counters here. So this is your military strength, right? 5, but don't forget you have new military tactics. You can play a card that costs 8 military, which I think there's only one that costs 7. And it's worth 7 points. So if you have that card in hand, that would be really good. And then this is how many cards are on the table. You have 9. I have 8. Again, the game ends if one player has 12. And it is possible to play 3 cards in a round. If I picked one of these phases, and you picked 2 of these phases, 2 of the same phase, then there would be 3 build phases, and you would be able to run the table out right now. But I'm not doing that. I'm just producing until the game ends. Because I can play whenever you play, and I still have more points than you on board. Okay, so you play double settles. You're going to try to drop 2 big planets now with your military. It's a good idea. I'm going to play my artist colony because it matches up with my mission. And I get it for free, basically. And then I want to play one that gives me like the next biggest point drop, which is going to be Galactic Trendsetters, which is another one of my mission cards, which is fantastic. So because you picked settle twice, you get to settle and then settle again, and you get the bonus each time. I don't get the bonus at all. Oh man, I should actually update on Twitch that I'm playing it. The learning curve, I'm so happy you're here, Colossal Gyro, because what I'm doing is I'm actually walking players through how to play. I'm walking Lushai through how to play. It is a very, very steep learning curve, but once you get through it, it is very easy to play. There is a lot of information you have to learn. The cards represent a lot of different things. Okay, so Lushai, it's okay. Click on, this is a web browser mechanic that's a little odd. If you click on new military tactics now, it'll give you the +3 boost. And then you'll be able to play the 7 military card. Because this is like a use card. So you have to click on this now. I have to update my Twitch. There you go. That is the most expensive, that's the highest point value card in the game for flat points. Sweet. And then there's a mission card that gives you a bonus based on how many military planets you've played or what your military strength is. That would be the mission you'd be looking for if you're going for military. Let me update the dashboard. Race for the Galaxy. Nice. Okay, now I get to settle again. Again, I'm gonna try to get my mission card down. This card is looking for Research Labs, Galactic Trendsetters, or Artist Colony. So I got Artist Colony down. Now I'm going to get Galactic Trendsetters down. And I get the discount, so it only costs me 3. I'm going to get rid of these military worlds that I'm not using. And then I'm going to consume for double points. Now, Trendsetters has another nice thing. It consumes 1 good for 2 points. So doubled, it gives me 4 points. So I'm actually going to collect 10 points this turn. 2 for this, 2 for this, 2 for this, and then 4 for Trendsetters. And now you have to use your consume abilities as well. Again, you won't be able to use Diversified here, but you'll be able to use the other ones. This one too. For this good. Okay. Now I've overproduced. I'm going to discard something useless. Okay, so this is going to be... Oh, this is the end of game, actually, because we actually ran the point totals out. You have a huge hand. So once you discard down to 10, the game will end, and it'll tally the final points, because we ran the token pool out. Just barely. You won't be able to finish playing your 12 cards. Okay. So let's tabulate. I'm going to walk you through... Oh, wait. I want to go back. Can I go back? I want to like walk you through how to count the points. How can I look at the... Okay, here. All right. So let me show you like how the points resolve. What I like to do when I score it at home... I'll just show you. When I score it at home, to make it simple, I make like a little table. So I count, I'll put like the players, like Lush High, or I'll do it like this, right? And then I'll do cards, tokens, 6-drop developments, or the missions, and then the total, right? And then I'll go through and count each player's board. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 11, 18, 20 from cards. So I would put 20 here for you. Then we count your tokens. You have 5 tokens. And then you have... You didn't get any missions down. So you have no 6-drops at all. So 0 for this, right? And that's 25, which the game calculated. So then on my board, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 16 for cards. And then tokens, I had 20, which is, I took the lion's share of those. And then for my mission card, Renaissance was worth 3 for Artist Colony, 3 for Trendsetters, that's 6. And then 3 victory points rounded down for every other. So 6 more points because I had 18. If I had 21 victory point tokens, I would get 7, but I had 18. So 6 for that and 3 and 3. So this card ended up being worth 12 points, which is what it says right here. So that was a huge... The missions can be worth a lot of points, right? So I got 12 for that. And that's how I ended up with 48. Now, a lot of the times these games are close, but if you get screwed, like if someone gets the jump on you on the production strategy, it often ends up in a blowout. Trying to catch up when you're behind on a production strat is a way to lose very big. It happens a lot. Yeah, but so that's how you play. Do you have any questions? Do you want to run through another game? Yeah, I mean, like, before you get good at it, you're going to have to see a lot of the cards several times. If you have a physical copy, what I would do is pull all the missions out and just kind of look at those. And get a sense of how the synergies work. But in general, if you're going to play, the blue cards work together, the brown cards work together, the green cards work together, the yellow cards work together. Like, they all kind of work together, but there are certain key cards for every strategy that you'd be looking for. Like, the key card for this blue strategy is Consumer Markets. And then there's a 6-drop mission that works with this as well, that makes it even more powerful. But without Consumer Markets, making a lot of small blues doesn't really do anything. You had Diversified Economy. It was really good. You were just missing one key card, which was like producing on a windfall world. If you had that key card, you might have been able to get down faster than me and empty out the token pool. The military cards, New Galactic Order is the key card. That gives you a huge bonus. So you would have gotten 5 bonus points for having 5 military strength. 7, actually, because New Galactic is worth 2 military strength. And then also a point for every military planet that you played. So New Military Order for you would be like a 10-point card. So, but that comes with time. The more you play, the more you'll get used to what cards are in the deck, and you'll be able to develop better strategy. But yeah, man, we can do one more. I can do one more, and I'll do it slow again, and then I gotta go to bed. Oh no! Oh no! Hold on, I did the wrong thing. Ah, shit. I hit quit. Here, I'm just gonna invite you to a new table. Alright. Invited. Okay. Oh, wait. I can't switch to turn-based? Alright, let's just put it on slow then. Okay, so your start world is Alpha Centauri, which you didn't start with last time, but you had it. So you start with a brown good, which is really good. You can sell your first turn, which if you have Alpha Centauri is a good play. You could get 3 cards from selling this, and I can't do shit. I don't have a card. Right? So you could sell and even produce, because you get the bonus. So you could sell this your first turn and reload it all in the same turn, and I don't have shit, because I don't have a production world or a windfall world. Now, I've played a few times, so when someone has Alpha Centauri, I expect that play. So my first turn play, I would probably try to get a windfall world down and then use it right away, because I expect you to sell. I have what you had. This is a very flexible card, but the downside is it doesn't have any production. So I need to find some production. So I have to discard 2 cards. I'm going to discard the Rebel Homeworld because it's very expensive, and I'm going to discard Trendsetters because I can't use it yet. Rosetta Stone is a card that lets you play a lot of yellow cards, so maybe I'll use that later. Research Labs also lets me, it gives a bonus to my draw, which is nice. It's kind of expensive though, but this also works well with yellows. So I have kind of the beginnings of a yellow plan, but again, it's hard to piece together like a comprehensive plan from your opening hand because you just don't have enough cards. If you try to hold on to too many cards in your opening hand and make them work, you usually end up playing too slow and you lose. You should try to just make your best early game play and then have a big draw turn in the middle game and then try to run out. So I'm going to expect you to sell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to settle my green card and I'm going to sell right away and draw 4 more cards. But it's going to burn some cards out of my hand. So I'm going to settle this. I'm going to burn the other windfall card and I'm going to burn Research Labs. I'm going to keep Rosetta Stone because it's a neat card. And now I'm going to sell my green good for 4. Nice. And you sold and produced. So you settled a card, and you get to sell this for 3, and you get to produce, and you get a good here and a good here, which is awesome. So now you actually can sell 2 turns in a row without having to play produce again. Last game, you were getting nailed because every time you had goods on board, they were getting eaten by your consume ability, which is a good thing, but it prevented you from using them for selling. Now that you played produce and you have this colored in and this windfall, you get to click on this and make a windfall good here. Next turn, you could do something and sell, and your other good will remain on the table. And then you can sell again and keep your hand full while making other plays. Since you have 2 brown cards, this card in my hand would be something really good for you. Mining Conglomerate is a key card to an all-brown strategy. You get +1 when you sell brown goods. You can consume 2 brown goods for points out of this 1 card. And if you produce more brown goods than any other player, you draw every time there's a production phase. You draw 2 cards. So this would be a card you would want. I'm sorry it's in my hand. This would be really good for you. If you find the other one, this would work great. This would be a great turn 3 play for you. Now, what am I going to do? So, like, you see, I don't have any goods on the table, and you do. So selling again is good. Because it forces me to have to, like, make some kind of a play where I get a good on the table. I can't even do it. So you have a clear advantage here where you'll be able to draw cards and I won't. So what am I going to do? I have a yellow card here, and I have Rosetta Stone. So I think I'm going to try to go yellow, which means Contact Specialist isn't going to work for me. Replicant Robots might help too, but I need to draw cards. I don't have enough plays, so I'm going to draw, and then I'm going to settle the Rosetta Stone world. Galactic Federation is a really strong mission that makes all the development cards cheaper, and you can win the game just by playing a lot of developments without doing any planets at all. Which is it can be a very good strategy because a lot of players trying to create a point a strategy like I did last game where I'm cashing in points. They are benefited by the other player picking settle, because then they can keep growing their board without having to pick settle themselves. But if you just play a bunch of development cards, you never give them the chance to play another planet, and you just build this big development board, and then you choke me out. I never have time to play another planet. So that's the counter. If you see the other player is building a board where they're trying to get a lot of tokens, the counter is just go developments. Play a lot of developments. They all kind of synergize with each other as well. So what 2 cards am I going to keep? There's a green card, which would be great with Contact Specialist. But that means I'd have to abandon Rosetta Stone World. Galactic Fed would be cool, but I can't really use it yet. Well, maybe I will. All right, I'll pick these 2. Maybe I'll just go into development, because this is a really big card. Then my issue will be, how am I drawing cards? Which I don't really have a good answer to. Alright, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to play Public Works, which is like a card draw engine card. The 1-cost developments are really good to get early, because a lot of them help you draw more cards as the game goes on. Public Works lets you draw a card every time you place another development, but there's other ones that draw a card every time you play development, phase, and some other things, Interstellar Bank and stuff. I'm going to burn my Mining Conglomerate since I'm not playing brown cards. Investment Credits is a really good one. Investment credits plus this card in my hand, Galactic Federation, means you're -3 on all the developments. Plus, when you play develop, it's -4. And you can play like a ton of development cards out for free. And now I'm going to settle my Rosetta Stone World, which I'm going to burn these cards for. And my whole thing is I'm going to try to play a bunch of big alien worlds. I've kind of committed now. Not a very good plan, I must admit. Probably not going to work for me. But the nice thing about the alien cards is they sell for a lot. So my next turn is going to be playing this for free, since this gives me this +2 to alien military. And then I'm going to sell this card for 5. So that's my whole turn. I'm going to play this out and sell it for 5. And if you were looking at my board but not seeing my hand, you might guess that that's what I might be doing, since this card facilitates me playing more planets. It's -2 cost for alien worlds and +2 military. So it looks like I might settle this turn. Or it looks like I might be trying to get alien worlds down. Do you have any questions? Do you have questions about what's in your hand? Do you have questions about the mechanics? Any questions? Okay, hit me with the question. And you can if you want to ask about specific cards in your hand, you can tell me because I know what they are. I've played this game enough. I have like 1,600 games played or something. What's money? Okay. So, okay. This is a very general question. Are you asking in reference to a specific card? So, like, this card here has a $sign on it, right? So, this means specifically when you pick sell as an option, if you sell a green good, you get +2 extra. No, it's literally just cards in your hand. But it's represented by... Like, the sell phase is a special phase, right? If I play consume and you don't, and I pick sell and you didn't pick anything, you don't get to sell as an action. You can only use the consume on your cards. So, like, selling is a special action, like a bonus action that you can only do if you pick it on the consume phase. Then you can sell the good 4 cards. And I think on the bottom here, how to play, right? Here's the summary of goods, right? So yellow cards are worth 5, green are worth 4, brown are worth 3, and blue are worth 2. And that's only if you sell. So this green ability here on Biohazard Mining World only happens if you're selling a green good. Otherwise, it does nothing. But every time you sell a green good, you get 2 extra cards. That's what this card means. All right, I can't develop, so I have to skip. Don't worry about the clock here either. Like, if you run out of time, it gives me an option to boot you or whatever, so we can just keep playing at whatever pace. It's not going to like automatically end the game for you if the timer runs out. Do you have any other questions? Sweet. So terraforming robots. Whenever you settle a world, you draw a card. This happens whether you pick the bonus or not. If you picked settle and you settle a card, you draw a card for the bonus for picking settle, and you draw a card from terraforming robots. So now every time you pick the settle phase and settle a card, you draw 2 cards back. So that's a really good card. That's a key card if your goal is to build a 12-card board very quickly by playing lots of planets. This card, Terraforming Robots, goes very well with Replicant Robots because you play a lot of cheap planets for free and continually draw cards back into your hand. Right? If you can play like a 1 or 2 cost world for free, you're drawing 2 cards back, and your hand is actually getting bigger while you play planets down. So this is a nice little synergy here. Now, I am going to settle my Alien Robot Sentry, and I'm going to sell my yellow good. It's all pretty overwhelming, but you like it so far, right? And like once you get it, the games go so fast. That's another reason why I like it a lot. It's one of the faster games that you can play. Here on the website, the timer is like 5 minutes. I'd say in person, it probably takes 20 minutes for players that know what they're doing. Maybe even less. But again, if you play this with 3 or more players, you only pick, now that you understand a bit about what's going on, every player only picks one phase. So the game takes a lot longer. Because you can't combo your turns quite as well. You have to do a lot more predicting what the other players are going to do. You get a lot less bonuses per action than you do in the 2-player version. So I'm going to sell my yellow, my alien technology, and I drew 5 cards. You didn't sell anything because you didn't pick sell. So you didn't get to sell. But because I picked sell, consume happens, and you have to burn this good into one of these, right? So Black Market Trading World allows you to draw cards equal to the good's trade value. So if you put the card here, it's just like you were selling the card. So you'll draw 3. If you put it into Terraforming Robots, you'll get a point in a card. I think you actually did it before I explained Black Market Trading World. So Black Market Trading World is really good to kind of counteract what I just did, which is selling a good when you can't sell a good. And that lets you keep up your card draw. Keeping up your card draw is really important in the early game because you want to have a big enough hand to do stuff in phases that you don't pick. Yeah, so 3 cards probably would have been better. But that's Black Market Trading World. This is a really cool card. This allows you to basically sell your cards without playing consume yourself, which allows you to take advantage of me picking sell. But again, because it's like a special ability, you wouldn't get a bonus. So if you used a green good on Black Market Trading World, you wouldn't get this +2 bonus. So what am I doing? My whole plan here is to play these big alien worlds. I don't have any fucking alien worlds in my hand. So I'm just going to super draw and look for alien worlds and the alien world mission. Because I'm committed. So now I'm picking the +5 bonus and the base bonus. So I'm going to draw the maximum amount of cards and look for specific cards that work with what I'm trying to do. I'm not sure what you're trying to do. You look like you're trying to play a bunch of brown cards, and that's a really good plan. So you need to find these brown cards, stuff like Destroyed World or Imperium Armaments or any other small brown cards. The best brown cards you could find would be Mining Conglomerate or any brown cards that allow you to draw when you produce goods. Or there's Mining Robots is very good. Or there's a mission that works with brown cards that I forget the name of it, but you'll see it. Mining Trade Company or something like that. All right, so I'm going to pick the big yellow card because that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm going to pick New Galactic Order. This is the military bonus card that I was saying. So it's going to give me +2 to my overall military strength, which will help me conquer these alien worlds. A lot of the alien worlds are red. So it takes the military strength. You played Develop. Now I'm going to play my New Galactic Order right away, since you played Develop, and I have a full hand. 4, 5, 6. And give myself the immediate bonus to this military strength. So now I have enough to play Alien Robot Scout Ship next turn. Now my military strength is worth... it says 3 here. It'll say 3, but I get an extra +2 for just the yellows, so it'll be enough. So now I'm kind of doing what you tried to do last game, which is build a military board. Especially now that I played this big mission out. Sometimes if you are looking at your hand and you don't see anything that works together, taking a big draw turn to try to find some synergy is a good idea. It's slow, but sometimes that's what you need to do. So this turn, I'm going to try to continue playing my yellows. The thing about yellows is they sell for a lot, so I don't need to fuck around with any more draw turns since I have a clear play. I can play this down and sell it the same turn and draw 5 more cards and look for more yellows that way, instead of having to use the double explore power. So my turn, I'm definitely going to settle this Windfall World, get the yellow good out, and then sell it for 5 more cards. The nice thing about Rosetta Stone World is it helps you if another player is doing a point, like a token strategy like I did last game. The Rosetta Stone World allows me to produce the yellow goods when someone else plays produce. And then I can keep selling goods every turn without having to play Windfall Worlds, because not all the alien worlds are Windfall Worlds. And then I get to keep cycling through the deck to look for more alien planets. Yeah. Alright, so you drew. You get to draw 3, keep 2. I get to draw 2, keep 1. I'm going to draw... I already have a copy of Expedition Force, so the duplicate does me no good, so I'm just going to keep the other one. You can never have 2 of the same card on the board, so you never want 2 of the same card in your hand, really. It's just useless. So now I'm going to settle. I'm going to settle my Robot Scout Ship. You have a chance to settle. You don't get the bonus, but if you do settle, you will draw a card from Terraforming Robots, even though you won't draw a card from the settle phase. And then but you passed, so I'm going to sell my good for 5. That was the sell phase. Now you chose not to sell, but you do have a good and you have to use it. So now you get to pick which one of these you want to use, right? So Trade League's ability and Black Market Trading World's ability is the same. So you could draw cards for either one of these. And now produce. So you played produce. So your production world produces. Your Windfall World produces, which is the bonus action for picking produce. And then my ability triggers, so I get to produce a yellow good on one of my yellow Windfall Worlds because I have this ability on Rosetta Stone World. So I didn't find any yellow cards to play. I didn't find anything, really. I found this mission, which gives me points for... This is the one I used last time for victory point tokens, but I'm not doing that this game. I've got Free Trade Association, which is great if I played a bunch of small blues, but I didn't do that either. So these are both trash, and none of these are really helping me do anything I want. So I'm going to draw big again, and I'm going to sell, which is more card draw. I'm just drawing, looking for more cards to play with what I'm trying to do. So on my first draw, I only get to keep 1. I'm going to keep the Military World. That's kind of a hit. The military cards are worth a lot of points. But it's not really the yellow cards I'm looking for. I'm looking for the yellow cards or the yellow mission. Yeah, so you played the Trade League mission. This gives you bonus points for every world with a trade power or developments with a trade power. Now, trade is specifically the $sign, not the Phase 4. So this one here that has something on the $sign is a trade power. And this card here is a trade power. The regular Phase 4s are consume powers, not trade powers. So these cards will not count towards the bonus points on this card. But something like this card would, because it has the $sign. So that's what you're looking for now, basically, is stuff that hits off this or a way to generate points. Because you can see at this point in the game that I'm not going for a point strategy. I'm trying to play big yellow planets. And I'm ahead of you. I have more cards on the table. So the game's going to end if I reach 12. So you have to try to outscore me somehow before the game ends. Right now it's 10 points to 8, so you're 2 points back. I need some tea. But you're not actually really 2 points back because this card doesn't calculate yet. But if you look at what's on your board, you have 1 point for your Biohazard Mining World and 2 points for Trade League itself. So this card is worth 3. So it's actually 11 to 8. You're up by 1. Because that doesn't get calculated out till the end. So I'm going to way overdraw here, but again, I'm looking for specific cards. Okay, so I found a bunch of good cards. I found Galactic Imperium, which gives me bonus points for Rebel Military Worlds, and I found a bunch of Rebel Military Worlds. And here's the brown card I was talking about, Mining League. Would have been another really good card for you. 2 rare elements, gain 3 victory points. That's 2 brown goods, and you draw cards when you produce. Oh no, you don't draw cards. You just produce on an extra brown Windfall World. And Mining Robots here is the other blue synergy card, right? It makes them all cheaper again by 1. So if with this and Alpha Centauri, all the blue ones would be worth. Would cost 2 less, and it produces on a Windfall World. So these are these key brown cards. This one to an extent is good. Mining World is good. They all work together. But I have to discard 6, so I'm going to get rid of all the brown cards. And like, I don't know, Free Trade Association. And now I have a plan. I want to play my Rebel military cards and my Galactic Imperium. And I want to play it as fast as possible before you get a plan together, because we're racing for the galaxy. So my military strength is currently 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons. Like, so the early game, you should really be focused on creating some kind of card draw engine, because you need to draw a lot of cards to find the cards that synergize with what you're trying to do. Like I said, all the planets in the deck are unique, right? So if you don't have a lot of card draw, it's going to be hard to find the cards that synergize. Like, there are lots of small blue planets that do similar things, but they're all unique. And there aren't that many. Now, there's doubles of all the developments except for all the missions. There's only 1 of each. So again, you need to see a lot of cards to be able to hit the cards you're looking for. So the stronger your card draw engine, the better chance you're going to have of making your hand the way you want it to be. So a lot of the early game should be focused on playing stuff like Interstellar Bank. That lets you draw cards, or consume abilities that lets you draw cards, or producing and consuming some kind of cycle that allows you to draw a lot of cards, that specifically allows you to outdraw your opponent. Like, you don't need to draw a million cards to win. You really are trying to outdraw your opponent and then race them down. That's kind of the main plan. No matter what plan you're going to go with for your board, you're not going to be able to probably execute unless you can outdraw your opponent. So I'm gonna settle. I have 4 military strength, so I can play this card but not this card. But if I play this, it gives me a bonus military to Rebel Worlds. So I'm going to develop, play this down, and then I'm going to settle and play the Rebel Outpost down. 1, 2. I'm going to keep my cheap developments. 3, 4, 5. I'm going to get rid of the blues. I'm not using them. Now I'm going to play my highest point card, my Rebel Outpost. Genetics Lab, neat. You've got a lot of this green synergy going on, but you haven't found a lot of green cards. But this does hit on your trade league. So that's 2 bonus. So this card is worth 3 for you now. 1 for the card itself, and 2 points added on the trade league. And now if you can settle, you can settle, but if you can't, you're just going to have to pass. But again, I'm not racing for point tokens this time. I'm racing to 12 cards on the table, and I've got 9 down. So I'm very close to ending the game. Ah, that sucks. When I first started playing this game, I tried to do the military strategy a lot because it was very clear. And then as I got better at it, I try to do more of the token strategies, because there's a lot of different ways you can get to generating 6 points a turn, and the military cards are a little more strict, and you have to get them in the right order or you can't build up your military. Okay, so the game is starting to end. I want to play cards as fast as possible because I still see that I'm ahead on board. So I only have one planet to play. I don't have enough to run the game out, but I'm going to try anyway. I'm going to develop one of these developments. I get them at a discount so I can do it, and then I get to play this card for free So even though I have a small hand, I can play 2 cards this turn and hopefully get towards that 12 card endgame board. I don't need to worry about my card draw anymore. I just need to worry about ending the game before you catch up. So I'm going to develop and settle. And you played develop and produce. Okay. So I'm going to just add to my military with my development because it gives me a bonus point for New Galactic Order. And then I'm gonna settle my my rebel military card here, which is gonna give me bonus points for my Galactic Imperium. So I got very lucky. I found 2 missions that work well with military. It doesn't always happen. So there you go. So I'm at 11 points. So next turn is going to be the last turn, because once I hit 12 cards, the game ends. And again, you can go over, like the entire round is going to complete, so you can end with 14 cards. You can actually end with 15 cards. Is the most cards you can end with on the table, and that only works on a 2-player game, because you can have 11 cards, and then I could play double develop, and you could play double settle, and we could play 4 cards. So yeah, I'm going to do this. Produce on the thing. Now this is my last turn, so I'm going to think about what you're going to do. I don't have a great play in my hand, so I'm going to take a long shot and draw a bunch of cards and see if I can hit one really good card on this last turn. And now what I want to do is pick develop or settle. I want to pick the one that you're not going to do, because I want to have a chance to play 2 cards to the table. And if I pick the same one as you, I'll only be able to play 1. And I don't know what I'm going to find. So it's kind of a 50-50. But I'm going to play settle because I have a card in my hand that I know I can settle. So you didn't play develop. So if I hit my alien mission here, like a lot of times on the last turn like this, someone will pick this big explorer and develop in the hopes that they hit the mission that they're missing. But I did it the other way. But I got a big alien planet, so that's cool. I'll pick my big alien planet. And then I'll settle it for cheap. Boom. 1, 2, 3. And then I can consume my goods. All right, so I have consumability here and a consumability here. Oh, hi, Cleo. Hi, honey. Can you not right now? I'm almost done, baby. All right. And after you consume your good, now you have Tourist World here. You did consume time 2. So if you put both of these brown goods in a Tourist World, you get 6 points for that, because it doubles 3. This is a very strong card, Tourist World. This is if you have these 2 brown planets and you played Tourist World turn 3, you could have ended the game. You could have run the points out like 3 turns ago, and I would have been shot. This is a really strong card, especially if you can get it out early. Yeah, because it's, again, the key point is getting 6 points a turn. With 24 points in the point pool, that puts me on a 4-turn clock. So if you had the Alpha Centauri and Biohazard down, that's producing 2 goods every time you play Produce. And then Tourist World consumes 2 for 6. That puts me on a 4-turn clock right away. On like turn 3. Oh, you just put it in Terraforming Robots? Oh well. But you're learning the cards. This is a very strong card for that reason. Do not use Pilgrimage World. This is like if you have way too many goods, you get to consume your excess. Alright, so it did the thing, but I wanna go through the point scoring again just so you see what's going on. Okay, so let's go through your board, and then we'll go through my board. So you had, let's count your cards first, right? None for Alpha, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8 11, 13, 15. Now we'll count your point tokens, which are up here. You had 4 point tokens. And then your missions. So it says here you had 5, but I'll show you how you had 5. Trade League counts for itself. So 2 points for Trade League. It's a development with a trade power. 1 point for Biohazard Mining World, which is a world with a trade power. And 2 more points for Genetics Lab, which is another development with a trade power. So 2, 4, 5. 5 points for Trade League. Trade League is hard to get a lot of point value out of. My card last game had 12. Some missions are easier than others to get like a massive swing. So yeah, and your total was 24. I should just make this an actual spreadsheet and add all the columns up, but whatever. So now let's go through my board. So for cards, 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, 10, 15, 16, 24. So you can see some of the cards are worth a lot. The military cards have higher point values than a lot of the production cards. And you can play them out quickly if you build a big military. Tokens, I had almost none. 2 tokens. What just happened? Oh my god. Was that a donation? I have my stream up like here. I can't see. But I told you I would never miss a donation again. Thank you so much for the donation. I'm pretty sure that's my donation sound. I super appreciate it, man. Oh, man. That's awesome. Never missing a donation message again. But yeah, where was my sheet? Okay. So... and then my missions, right? So New Galactic Order gives me 1 point for every one of my military strength, unspecialized. So not the yellow or this thing, but I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this should be worth 6. Yep, 6. And then Imperium gives me 2 points for every rebel military world and 1 point for every other one. So 2, 4, 5, 6. This should be worth 6 as well. And it is. So I got 12 points off my missions. And that's how I got to 38. Alright. What do you think? We can do this again sometime. But I gotta go to bed now. Thanks for playing with me. Thanks for letting me try to teach you. I really like this game. You can see, like, there's just a lot to take in. Like, it's really intimidating to new players because there's so much information on the cards. Like, the cards represent so many different data points. It can be really overwhelming. But once you've played it a few times, once you've played it a few times and you get to know the cards a little bit, it really picks up and it plays very, very fast. And it's a lot of fun. And there's lots of different ways you can get the missions to go together. So I think it's a lot of fun. Roll for the Galaxy is supposed to be very good too, but I have never played Roll for the Galaxy, and I'm excited because I just saw that it came onto this website. So I'm probably going to check that out later. Yeah, so like I got the game as a gift. I got a box copy of the game as a gift, and I tried to learn it with my friend, and we're good at games and we've played a lot, and we kind of struggled with it because there was a lot to pick up, and we played like 2 hands and it took us like 2.5 hours to try to figure it out. And then I went online to try to see if we were doing it right, and I found this website and I was like, oh man, this is great. And then I played a bunch of games on this website, and it does all the card draw for you and it shows you the log of what's happening, and that's when I really figured it out. This website is how I got to learn, because you get to play so many practice games so quickly. So I would totally recommend, like, before you buy the box, play it like 10 times on the website. There's usually someone playing. It doesn't take long to get into a game most of the time. And read the log on the side. and read the mouse over text, and you'll be able to learn the game that way. Yeah, it's really fantastic because, none of this mouse over text exists in the board game. There's an index in the rule sheet on the back that has all of this text, but you have to look it up and match the card to the index. So it's much easier to just mouse over and read the text, because the cards in the box just have the graphics on them. It's all just these symbols. So it's a real pain in the ass to teach people, because they're like, I don't understand. There's boxes, there's colors, there's numbers, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 2 different hands. You have your phase hand, you have your card hand. It can be really confusing. All right, that's going to do it for me tonight, though. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for playing Race with me. Thanks for the donation. And I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll play some more stuff. Peace.